I'll see you guys in the dark.
What's up, Stalkers of the Night? I know you guys have asked if I have any merchandise, and I had a buddy of mine draw out a couple of concepts, and I liked one of them. I plan on getting more of them sooner or later, but if you guys want to check out the merchandise that I currently have available, the link will be in the description below. Right now I'm going to work on just t-shirts, maybe a coffee mug, and if I can find it on the website, I'm going to probably do a mouse pad as well. If you guys have any ideas on what you would prefer to see, let me know, and I will post a link in the description below.
Three years ago, my girlfriend and I decided to hike up near her parents' place in Oregon when we went to visit them for a week. We decided to bring camping gear with us and stay the night. I had only been camping once before, and it was in Boy Scouts, so it had been a very long time ago. My girlfriend grew up camping and knows her way around the area very well. So myself, her, and her parents' dog Bear, a huge Newfoundland lab mix, headed up to the trail. We saw a few people out most of the day hiking. People love Bear and stopped to pet him. So a little after 6, we set up camp, set our tent up, pull out our grub. We had decided to buy a big sub sandwiches, stuff for s'mores, chips, and a few tall boys for beer. I fired up a joint, and she pulled out her guitar after we finished eating. A great relaxing night, and we started winding down, getting ready to head to bed. She was in the tent, getting dressed for bed while I finished the joint and made sure the fire was out. Suddenly, Bear growls this low, menacing growl I've never heard from him before. I pet him, look around, figure it's an animal or something. We get to sleep, and around 1 I woke up to my girlfriend shaking me. She looks absolutely terrified. I hear Bear growling beside us, and she holds her finger up, talking low. She tells me that she woke up to voices. I listen, and I hear what sounds like 2 men talking. Then we hear something absolutely terrifying. One of them says to his friend, "I'll take the girl, you get rid of the guy." I knew we were screwed. We had no weapons of any sort. My girlfriend unzips the tent, and Bear rockets out. I've never seen him move that fast in my life. I hear one of the guys yell, "Oh shit!" and I hear Bear snarling and growling, and I hear them running away. My girlfriend takes the satellite phone her dad insisted she carry and called her dad. He calls law enforcement, and we stay in the tent as instructed. Bear comes back out of breath and no sign of the guys, and we wait for the ranger. When they show up, they find no signs of the guy, save for the truck tire tracks. They gave us a ride back down to our car, and later that day, Bear got a steak and plenty of love. So guys who wanted to do Lord knows what with me and my girlfriend, let's not meet ever again, for Bear's sake. One year, a group of us went camping in Kearney, Ontario, where we always go camping. Whenever we go, we always form our tents in a big circle, with the fire pit in the middle of us. We've been drinking, smoking, and a few of us were tripping on shrooms. The first night we were there, this guy randomly walks into our circle, introduces himself, that he was in the military, and decided to take some vacation to camp out a bit. He asked if he could join our fire, as it was getting late and he didn't want to buy any firewood. Being the friendly, stoned people we are, we let him join our fire. He even pitched in some money for the firewood. The night went on, and we were all having a good time. One by one, our group started heading off to bed. Me either the second or third going to bed. I remember waking up to the sound of someone talking and the fire being started. It was 4 a.m. I peeped out my tent and saw the random just sitting on a log by the fire, talking to himself. Still tripping, I thought to myself, I am in no condition to deal with this, and chalked it up to just being tripping out. I wake up the next day, and everyone is still alive, and the fire is smoldering. We looked to the next campsite, where the random was staying, and it was spotless. No garbage, no tracks in the trail around the site, no nothing. We all started talking about him, just to be sure we all saw it. Through talking, we managed to figure out that he must not have slept at all. The last two of our group to pass out just after 3:30 a.m. The first person got up just after 6 a.m. and noticed he was gone. The rest of the camping trip went well, and we all went home. Fast forward maybe 4 or 5 years. I flip on the news, and there's a picture of someone I could swear I recognize. He was arrested for a bunch of crimes. Guess who it was? It was the random guy who joined our fire. I don't know why I remember his face, but I guess it was just a weird situation where my brain clicked and saved as a JPEG in my brain. Now, I have no way of proving it was the same guy. We didn't take any pictures of the random, but the picture jump-started my memory and made me instantly remember the weird random fire joiner. Either that, or they looked identical to the same person. Either way, it was very creepy. Last summer, I was camping with my partner and our 30-pound dog along a creek in a popular area in a nearby national forest. It was an established site, but not a campground. Parking spot, fire ring, nice flat area with access to the creek. Dead of night, we were woken up to a large truck parked by our car, just idling. Eventually, 3 men get out. They enter our camp. They are talking quietly. The truck and creek makes us unable to hear what they are saying. I'm pretty sure it's not good, though. Meanwhile, our dog has been growling lowly the whole time. Early on, I whispered to my partner to be quiet, hold the dog, and hide. I got out of our sleeping bag and put my shoes on. The only thing I had for defense was a forest axe, halfway between the hatchet and the axe, very useful for getting in the woods. It had a leather sheath with a metal button latch to protect the blade. They took their time, perhaps as intimidation, but eventually got closer to our tent. I loudly popped the metal button from the latch, taking the sheath off, preparing to become an axe murderer, or be myself apparently. All 3 heard the latch. My assumption is they thought it was a gun holster. Quickly left the camp, got in their truck, and left without a word spoken. So yeah, guys who wanted to have an important party in the woods for unknown reasons in the middle of the night, let's not meet. So this is different from the usual stories, but I think it applies. I was the creep in this situation a while back. Me and several friends all decided to go camping. I had to go to work during the day, so everything was set up by the time I got there around 9 p.m. and started heavily drinking to catch up. After a few hours, we started to run out of firewood and had a competition to see who would get the most. I headed off away from the group and found some leftover logs. Back at the site, there was no one there, so I started splitting the wood with an axe and having a good time. All of a sudden, a young couple come out of the tent with the most horrifying expression I've ever seen. This is when it hits me. I was in the wrong campsite. From their perspective, it must have been terrifying, seeing a random stranger laughing while swinging an axe around at their campsite. I apologized and quickly got out of there. This happened 3 weeks ago, and it still scares the living hell out of me. Me, my friends, and our girlfriends went on a camping trip to a place called Black Oak, a popular camping spot in Jefferson City, Tennessee. We were going out to swim and drink because it was our last week of school. We had just graduated, and we were looking forward to our first weekend as college students. Me and my friends, Thomas, and our girlfriends, Stephanie and Maggie, set up our camping spot at around 7 in the evening, and we went out to get the stuff. We returned around 8 or 9 o'clock. We smoked and swam in the lake and got the campfire going. We had a couple of drinks and me and Maggie settled into our tent after Thomas and Stephanie got into theirs. We were laying down, cuddling, when Maggie said, "I think there's someone outside." She sounded really scared. "It's probably just Thomas or Stephanie grabbing another drink," I said. "But I'll check for you." I went over to Thomas and told him to put his headlight on, and that we were going to check out the surrounding area for maybe about 5 minutes. The search turned up nothing, so I went back in the tent and laid back down next to Maggie. The fire still kindling, so there were still shadows around us. I saw a shadow outside, and I thought the same thing that I thought before. When I heard Thomas speak from inside the tent and say, "Jesus, that's the third drink you've had in an hour," I sat up and sat as still as a statue. I messaged Thomas and said, "That wasn't me outside, dude." He quickly replied back with, "What the heck? I heard you like 30 minutes ago unzip the tent and get out." My blood ran cold when I saw the shadow standing outside the door of the tent. I grabbed my pocket knife and held it at the ready. I looked over at Maggie, who had just woken up. I saw tears running down her face as she looked at me. I thought, holy crap, this is really happening. The shadow moved away from our tent and over to Thomas and Stephanie's tent. I heard Maggie sob, and I heard movement once again. This random person was stalking our campsite, looking for God knows what. I laid back down and typed a note on my phone. I typed out, "Be quiet. I don't think this person knows that we're here." I showed it to Maggie, and she nodded her head very slowly. We laid there for God knows how long, waiting for the movement of footsteps back into the surrounding woods. Suddenly, I heard Thomas yell, "Back away from the freaking tent!" I unzipped the door to see a 40-something-year-old man, looking absolutely bewildered. I pulled out my knife and said, "You better leave before things get ugly." All this man did was give the wildest grin I've ever seen on a human face. "Get out of here, now!" I hear Maggie yell from the tent. His eyes darted to my girlfriend, and I got defensive. In an instant, I stepped in front of the door, making sure he knew I meant business. His smile quickly faded when he saw the knives in mine and Thomas's hands. He looked at both of us and ran off into the woods. Me and Thomas chased him down with our headlamps on. We followed back to the main parking lot of the public land. We saw a white beat-up car drive off. We didn't get the plate numbers, and it still made me angry that we didn't. We packed up immediately, put the fire out, and drove back to my house that was on the same road as the camping spot. When we got there, we had to realize what we just went through. It's been 3 weeks since then, and I don't know if I'm ever going to go back up to Black Oak. So, if you do camp there, please be careful. I don't know what the man wanted, or what he would have done if I hadn't been woken up. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos, and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.